Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Purpose Driven Live Sports Gaming, and I'm back here again to preview tonight's 3 playoff games. So, tonight, first game is going to be the Brooklyn Nets versus the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, the Nets are at home for the next 2 games, so I'm going to be looking forward to see what the Nets are going to do. Next, you got the San Antonio Spurs versus the Denver Nuggets. Now, the Spurs are at home for the next 2 games. Then you got the LA Clippers versus the Golden State Warriors. Clippers got 2 home games. So now, basically, other series have switched to the road teams now. So, first game, Nets, 76ers. Here's going to be the key to the game for 76ers. If Joel Embiid comes out and he's aggressive from the onset and he's being physical again, that's going to favor the 76ers because there is really no one who can guard Joel Embiid one-on-one. And that creates a matchup where you have to not only come with a double, that's going to leave Ben Simmons to cut to the rim. And every time that's happened, Joel Embiid has capitalized on that in this series. When you watch the first 2 games, multiple times I saw Joel Embiid just hitting Ben Simmons when he was getting double teamed because that guy will come off of Ben Simmons. So, like I said, Joel Embiid being aggressive, being physical, getting rebounds again. If he's not playing a whole bunch of minutes and they're up in the fourth quarter, that also helps them. They have to get an early lead and they have to get out and just play their game and hit open shooters when they do. When Ben Simmons is hitting open shooters, to me that helps his game a lot because then you got to focus on the shooters, as in J.J. Redick. Jimmy Butler's actually becoming a great shooter. You got Tobias Harris. And then once he has those guys going, that's when he really looks to capitalize and drive the ball and get layups and dunks. That's Ben Simmons' game. And as dependent on shooters as he is, that's what's really helped his game so far as he continues to really – he's going to have to find a jump shot sooner or later, but that's what he's capitalizing on now. And for Brooklyn, they're just – to me, them shooting the ball is going to be huge because I don't know if they're going to out-rebound the 76ers. They're going to have to get out in transition and get steals. Like they did in the first game, get steals. They're going to have to make shots. And I think at home, it's easier to make shots when you're at home to me than on the road because you got the crowd behind you. You got more confidence, so that's going to help them. It was great that they split the series. So if they get a series lead here, we could be looking at a different result. And we could be seeing a deeper series than people actually thought. So, but right now, after last game, I'm going to pick the 76ers to win a close game. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Knicks actually won this game. I'm not going to be surprised. Okay, now on to Denver versus San Antonio. Denver's going to have to really continue that momentum, and Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic are going to have to play that pick and pop game, that handoff game that they were doing in the fourth quarter, because to me, that is unguardable. And the reason why is that Nikola Jokic is a great screener, but when he does that handoff and he's also screening after the handoff, that's also unguardable. Because then you have to have the guy who's guarding Nikola Jokic kind of come up because the guy who's getting screened off the guard, he's trailing. That leaves Nikola Jokic open for a roll, or he's either picking and popping, or he's behind the three-point line, or he's open for a mid-range shot. And that was working so well in the last game that if the Nuggets can continue getting that action, that's going to work for them. Now, for San Antonio, they're not a team that fouls, but they're going to have to stay out of foul trouble. But they're going to have to keep having different contributions from Derek White, who's been exceptional in this series. And to me, they're going to have to make sure a guy like Paul Millsap is not getting off. And their bench is going to have to come through for the San Antonio Spurs. To me, they're not really a deep team. They only really play 8 guys is from what I see. So those 8 guys, those 3 guys off the bench, or however many they put in the game is going to have to contribute. They're going to have to make shots. Playing great defense is also going to be the key. But they're going to have to make sure Paul Millsap doesn't get off. To me, he's really a great determining factor of how Denver wins or loses games. If he's shooting well, if he has 18 points, to me, Denver is usually going to win the game because then you got him, you got Paul Millsap. Nikola Jokic is usually a double-double or triple-double threat. You got Jamal Murray, who's always aggressive. He can get his 18 just like that. So then you got to worry about the bench for Denver. Denver is so good because there's so many factors that you have to factor in if you want to beat them, which is why I know why people picked San Antonio Spurs to make this a challenge, but I don't see a lot of difficulties for Denver if they keep doing what they were doing the last game, which is, like I said, the pick and roll, the handoff, dribble handoff. So if they continue that, then San Antonio to me won't really be a problem because they don't really have an answer for that to me. So who am I gonna pick to win this game? I'm gonna go with Denver because I think a huge confidence boost for Jamal Murray was putting up 20 in the fourth quarter. That's huge for a young guy, and in the playoffs, that's huge in carrying momentum into either a road series, going on the road, or just when you're at home. And I think he's going to carry that. So I'm picking Denver to win in a close game. I think all these games in this series are going to be close because San Antonio they're no slouch. They're a team that competes. So, but I'm going to pick Denver to win in a close game. Now, the main finale, the game we're waiting to see is the Clippers and Golden State with the Clippers at home. A lot of talk has been about Kevin Durant and his lack of aggressiveness and his lack of being able to capitalize off the matchup with Patrick Beverley. And he had a great press conference, I believe it was yesterday, when he was talking about the gimmick defense that they're playing, where they're top locking on the three-point line and having a guy come up at him and help. And he's talking about he wants to be a guy that's a playmaker because, like he said, at the end of the regular season, he was such a great passer that it was actually helping Golden State build momentum going into the playoffs, which is why I believe that when they advance to the next round, because I believe they will win in 5, I think this last game, Game 2, was a wake-up call for Golden State, and they really did fall asleep when they went up 31, and they didn't wake up, which is the problem. And I think they're not going to take this for granted anymore. But we're going to have to wait and see. But Kevin Durant being a playmaker is always going to help the Golden State Warriors because once he's doing all this one-on-one, pull-up stuff from the mid-range, while it's efficient, it stops the ball movement. And Golden State is always going to be predicated on ball movement. Then you got Steph Curry, who I'm never going to be worried about because at any moment in any quarter, he can just flip a switch and start going. Klay Thompson's going to have to be the guy who has a good game too because Draymond Green is a guy who just stepped up this series and he's competed. And while he's had a tough time with Montrezl Harrell, to me, he's going to continue to compete, and I'm not worried about Draymond. The centers, Andrew Bogut, you got Kevon Looney, Jordan Bell's going to play some big minutes at center. They're going to have to step up because DeMarcus Cousins, you take away that playmaking, a guy who can go down the post. So Golden State lost a dimension, but they still have 4 other guys who can create, who can shoot, 3 guys who can shoot, and guys who can create off the ball, who can create shots for themselves. But Klay Thompson, to me, is the key. And if he's having a good game, if he has like 25, in my opinion, if he has 25 or more, Golden State wins this game. But the defense on Lou Williams also is going to be the key. I don't know who they're going to put on Lou Will. They're probably going to put Klay on him because he's their best defender at this point. But Lou Will is so quick. He's such a good passer. He's a great shot creator, and you saw that in the first 2 games. He's just such a hard guy to guard because of all the dimensions in his game. He's also a great free throw shooter. So they're gonna have to toughen up on that pick and roll with him and Montrezl Harrell because they've really capitalized off that. So those are really the keys in that game. I'm picking Golden State to win the next 3 games, of course. I believe they might win this game by 15. I think they'll win by 15. I think it'll be close for 3.5 quarters, and Golden State will pull away at the end. I wouldn't be surprised if they really blow the doors off of the Clippers. I think also because of that wake-up call they had. Everybody's talking about they're getting cocky, talking about how Houston's going to capitalize. Golden State has an inner beast that they don't let out very often, but when they do, I remember that game against Denver during the middle of the season when they went on that 14-15 game run where they were just unbeatable. That's that inner beast I'm talking about where they can turn it on and they just hit shots continuously. They had a 51-point quarter, just hitting shots, playing defense. They don't bring that out very often, but when they do, they're unbeatable. And I think that's going to be the key for them. And I think this is the game where we're probably going to see it, and it's going to continue. Because Golden State, we're all human, so we hear the things that people say outside of the locker room. And Golden State doesn't like how, I don't think they like how everybody keeps saying Houston this, Houston that. You guys aren't as good as you used to be. Houston's better than last year. They could potentially get taken out. I think we'll see the inner beast, and I think Golden State's gonna start. They're gonna go on a roll. So, but that's it for this video. Thank you guys for listening. Those are my series predictions. Those are my predictions for tonight's games. Thank you guys for listening, and I'll be back with you guys again soon.